free.
Are you ready to live longer, have a longer lifespan, and a longer health span? Maybe over the years you notice that you're having less and less of that youthful energy, less hair, yet more pain and more packing on the pounds. And you're ready to revert back to your much younger self, to be that happy, energized bunny, to reclaim your youthfulness and reclaim your life. Today, we have a very special guest, Mr. Alex Lubarsky. He is the CEO and founder of Show Science, which is Science of Human Optimization, Inc., as well as the founder and CEO of the Naval Expos. Mr. Alex Lubarsky is a multiple author of two beautiful books, The Art of Selling, The Art of Healing, How the Rebels of Today Are Creating the Healthcare of Tomorrow, and Why Your Life Depends on It. He's also the author of the beautiful book, Youthful Longevity: Why Living Till 100 Vibrant, Productive, and Fulfilling Years is Your Birthright and Mandate. For over 25 years, he's been a passionate promoter of some of the most innovative physicians, specializing in ageless beauty, peak performance, function, and youthful longevity. Mr. Alex, thank you for being our special guest today. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your time.
Nice to be with you, Shayna. Thank you for the invitation. Happy to be here.
Yay! And for the
And
viewers out there, please drop us in where you're viewing from. We have the capabilities to stream your comments and questions live during the live stream and answer them in real time. So let us know where you're tuning in from. Alex and I are both in New York, but currently at different locations in New York. Yes, and we've known each other actually for decades. Our paths kept crossing because I was actually a part of your Naval Expo probably like 2 decades ago, or at least over a decade ago. And it's nice that things come full circle and we've reconnected. And I do have a copy of your beautiful book right here, Youthful Longevity. His beautiful face is on the back. Thank you for my signed copy. So the viewers, stay tuned to the end to see how you can get your personalized signed copy sent direct to your house.
that's
Good.
it.
Yes. So what is your why for doing what you do?
Well, honestly, I had no interest in healthcare. I was just a business person doing business.
So one of my whys is prescription drugs is the third leading cause of death. So we don't need to resort to them first. We should resort to healthier options when possible, as well as the fact that my grandpa was a pharmacist but died of a lethal drug interaction. My other why is the fact that after suffering from multiple autoimmune disorders, I realize that people think their specialist is the last stop. And if they can't make them better, then they give up hope. Can you share with us maybe three top pro tips that you've learned?
Well, there's a lot of health professionals, functional medicine doctors that share a lot of that kind of information. Basically, it boils down to making sure that your vitamin and mineral levels are optimized, that you're not toxic with heavy metals, parasites, xenoestrogens, and that your digestive function is working like a fine-tuned Swiss watch. You don't have silent tooth infections, then your body has every opportunity to self-regenerate, heal, and live a very long time. But ultimately, I think the major problem in the United States, human beings have been um, kind of being healthy and thin and living a long time without all this medical intervention. It seemed like at some point
Yes.
our sickness as disease became very profitable. And in a capitalistic country, when there's a profit motive um, that is abundant and unnatural, then you're going to have a lot of perverse incentives embedded in the system. And the results that we're experiencing are because
Yes.
of that.
You are so speaking my language. And I believe this is why modern medicine wants to get the children sick. Think about it. If we put fluoride in their toothpaste and now we mandate over 47 mandates by the time the child is in kindergarten, all with heavy metals. And why do we do this? I think because if you get a child sick, you have them for life. See, if you get an older 90-year-old sick, you might have them for a few years. You get a 5-year-old sick, you have them for the next 80 years of month after month, doctors, medicines, tests, and treatments. So I am so with you that sometimes I think modern medicine is to monetize and keep people sick so that they can sell you the treatments and the symptoms and the scare tactics. Mm-mm.
Well, that's very true, but they hacked a human weakness, which is that we expect and we want things for free. So at some
Mm.
point, we decided that someone else should be paying for our healthcare. And if you remember, over the last decades, the only conversation that we had and we heard from the politicians is who will be responsible for paying for your healthcare. Is it going to be the government? Is it going to be the insurance company? Is it going to be your employer? There was always this conversation, but ultimately, it would be somebody else paying. Anytime you would lay out any money out of pocket, they would call it a
Yes.
scam and a sham, and you're being taken advantage of. But ultimately, the only way to get what you want in this world is to pay for it directly. Because when you're hiring a plumber or a car mechanic or a construction worker, when you pay them directly, they work for you. When someone else
Mm-hmm.
is paying them, they work for that person. And if someone else is paying for your health care, they're not doing it because of what they want for you. They're doing it because of what they want
Yes.
from you.
Yes, that's a very good point. And also the fact that when you deal through the insurance, you have all those middlemen that are taking out percentages where you're dealing direct with the healthcare provider. They're going to make a little more money, but you're also going to save more money in the long run. I look at it like this. I always choose my patient's wellness over my wallet. And a lot of providers might choose their profits over the patients. And it's important to know that I truly want to get my patients and my clients better and feeling better, totally independent of me. Then they're like, hey, when do you want to see me again? Like, hey, it's been a while. I would rather that than the traditional doctor where you go back and say, okay, see you next month for your medicine and your prescription and your tests. So that's a very good point. And I can go on and on. And I'm glad that you brought up the deficits because a lot of our foods nowadays don't have the nutrients, right? We freeze them, we have insecticides and pesticides, we microwave them, we cook them. So it's important to find out what you're deficit in as well. And testing could be important, as well as, a lot of people in America can't, if you will, for argument's sake, to make it more basic, they can't metabolize or digest a lot of the B vitamins that are synthetic, and they need the methylated Bs. And that's something that changed. A big part of what I do is the methylated Bs seem to give me more energy and focus and concentration that I was lacking.
Well,
Methylation's a very big part of it.
I think doctors have a very important place, and that's why I like nurse practitioners so much because I
Yes.
think you
Ah,
guys are unique in the health industry because, first of all, nursing it's more. I don't know, holistic. Like you guys have an authenticity about you that you brought you into this business, if you will. But when you become medical, and even those that come with the purest of intentions, a lot of times the system itself destroys them. Just like when you become a politician, you may
yes.
want you have certain ideas, you're altruistic, you're um, iconoclastic, but as soon as you get into the machine turns you into one of its own. Only a few very extraordinary people can fight that and become something different. So nurse practitioners, my experience, they come in with this authenticity, like Mother Teresa. They want to save the world, and it's true. They kind of live out that mission, even though they're in a system that looks to manage disease for the rest of the life of their client.
Yes. It's very frustrating being that licensed healthcare pro for over 30 years. Only now is a lot of America starting to wake up to alternatives other than medication. So I had a lot of uphill battle for years. People like, what? You want to give me something other than a medicine? And now, thank God, people are waking up to realizing that prescription drugs is the third leading cause of death. And we don't need to resort to them first anymore. I remember when I was little, I never went to the doctor. Now it seems like the new generation, they have sniffles for a day and they're like, give me an antibiotic. And I'm like, what? It's viral. It's not going to help you. So a lot of times Americans are now so used to popping a pill, symptom pill, symptom pill, symptom pill, where I look to attack the root cause. And I think you and I are a lot on a similar page. Like, I would rather be proactive today than reactive tomorrow, meaning I would rather my clients come to me when they're healthy before they have disorders and before they have symptoms of disorders to prevent them or postpone them. But unfortunately, a lot of times in America, we're trained to go to the doctor after we have a symptom. So I wish more people would be proactive than reactive. Oh, look at that picture. Yes, thanks. Sorry to surprise you, but I saw this picture of you and Junior, and I thought maybe you would like to enlighten us on this scenario. That's a very good picture of you and Kennedy Jr., by the way.
Well, thank you very much. um, well, I started following this interesting couple, Kaylee Means and Casey Means. They wrote a book called Good Energy. They're very interesting brother and sister dynamic duo. In early 2021, their mom passed away from cancer after
Oh,
2 weeks after the diagnosis. And mom
oh
was
wow.
very health conscious and went to doctors regularly, and always got a clean bill of health. So it was a shock. He was a lobbyist for the food industry, and she was in her final year of studying to be a surgeon at Stanford. And so they both left their respective fields and decided to transform healthcare in America. So Kaylee had something to do with organizing this event that I saw him post about. Uh, it was going to be happening at the Kennedy Caucus Room in Washington, and Ron Johnson, Senator Ron Johnson, was one of the orchestrators. They were going to have about 12 panelists, and RFK was going to be there. Kaylee Means and Casey Means. Dr. Marty McCary, he wrote the book The Price We Pay. I read it a couple of times. Jordan Peterson, who wrote 12 Rules for Life, and probably one of the greatest thinkers of our time. And they were gonna have Vani Hari, the food babe. She's the one that's fighting to get uh, these dyes out
Yes.
of the children's Fruit Loops and food and everything.
Thank
So
God.
yeah, truly remarkable. And so
Yes.
I was there at this event. It was a tiny. The room only held like 100, 150 people. I was sitting 2 seats away from Kennedy. He had like three big guards
Nice.
around him. But I introduced myself, took a quick picture together. But it was a it
Nice.
was such an inspirational event because I had my doubts whether I want to continue in the health field, because had I done any other business, whether it
Mm.
was any service business, plumbing, auto repair, car sales, liquor store, cigar shop, you know, I would have been much further ahead. But I'm trying to sell something to people that are very attached to the status quo. So each year
Yes.
they're getting fatter and sicker. Our children are developing
Yes.
diabetes and becoming obese, and everybody seems to be fine with that. Talk to them about take eating healthier and exercising, and losing
Yes.
some weight. And, stop being so
It's ins
self-destructive.
Yes, it's insane, and I'm glad we brought up the point of Junior and time to take the dyes out of the foods, because my grandma raised me, God rest her soul, and in the 70s and the 80s, I remember going to Carvel ice cream, and she didn't want us to have the maraschino cherry because it had the red dye in there. So she was so insightful decades ago, and look how many decades later that we're first making a big deal out of it and trying to remove the dyes. This is insane. This battle's been going on for many, 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 many years. That maraschino cherry in the 70s and the 80s at Carvel. Mm-mm.
I mean, just take a look at how resistant people are from
Yes.
trying to remove the poisons from the food. They are attacking him as if he was, trying to steal their firstborn or something. It's truly
Yes.
a travesty, just the mindset. But ultimately, this didn't come out of nowhere. It came out of somewhere, and that is we have a healthcare system that is spending $5 trillion per year almost focused almost
Yes.
entirely on the indefinite management of chronic disease, and it also has a propaganda arm.
Yes. If you think about it, they did studies on how to put kids that are type 2 diabetics as young as like 5 years old on medications rather than tell them how to eat right. We need to incorporate, if we're going to indoctrinate our kids, it should be how to eat right, how to eat healthy, like other countries, where maybe in the school they're growing their fresh vegetables and fruits and showing the children healthy options. It's we need to incorporate health and wellness at a young age.
Chronic problems with the health of this nation, but ultimately they stem from the chronic problems of the healthcare system in this nation. And ultimately, I think that if we want to live a longer, healthier, more productive life, we have to take personal responsibility for that. We have to find somebody like Melissa who has proven herself dedicated to the health and well being of her clients and has left the bureaucracy of the third party payer model so she can serve her clients to the best of her ability. And so, if we work with someone like that who understands the science and searches the world for any cutting edge information that can help us get to the root cause of chronic illness, optimize our body so we can be fit, so we can sleep better, so we can uh, enjoy a healthy weight, have lots of energy, and maybe even create the context for a spontaneous remission miracle. And it's only a miracle because we don't really understand how the science works. And if you, as Albert Einstein says, continue doing the same thing over and over again and expect a different result, that is the definition of insanity. Well, if you have been to many doctors with your excellent health insurance card and you're not getting the result that you want, you are ultimately practicing insanity. And so, if you want different results, you have to find a different way of doing it. And the different way to do it is to find someone like Melissa and develop a relationship. Let her get to know you from the genetics out. Let her do your blood work so she understands any deficiencies or toxicity. Have her test your digestive function, make sure that it's optimized. When we were in our 20s, we could eat virtually anything we wanted and we wouldn't get announced for most of us, for many of us. And then at some point, it became very different, our 30s, 40s, and 50s. But is it simply because we're adding numbers to our age, or is it because we damaged our system of digestion, either with antibiotics or alcohol or processed foods or preservatives or whatever else we've been 150 pounds of sugar per year? So if we can heal and optimize our system of digestion, then that is the place to begin for living the kind of life we would want to live, the kind of life I would wish for you as I was wish for my friends and my children. So thanks for joining us. On behalf of myself and Melissa, I want to wish you optimal health, a long, happy, productive, amazing life.